The College Football Experience Week 7 reaction show episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It's brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up, and when you do, sign up with that promo code TCE SGPN. You get 50% off deposit bonus up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and NFL with Rhythm. Get your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm.
This is Jerry Glanville, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, brother.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the College Football Experience Week 7 reaction show. We have had a day. Is this the best camera? I don't know all this stuff. I need a producer behind the scenes just figuring this stuff out. I don't know. I think it's this one. That we do, but I could be wrong. Folks, what a day. And currently we have the Boise State Broncos up 21-7 on the island. I do have a Hawaii ticket plus 21. So hopefully that thing can cash.
Nice little drive here would almost put it
put it in
the bag for you.
Let's go. It's been a fun day of action.
Long day of action. And yeah, I mean, it does feel like a fucking marathon. Definitely like I look at the 9 a.m. games and I'm like, wait, was that
a couple of weeks ago? YouTube.com/the college experience. Jump on over there. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I think this is true tonight, Patty C.
Nobody knows nothing. Somebody knows. Double the price. But no one touches Dundee.
Oh, snap.
I have had some fire plays. I'm way up this season compared to last season. Just let you know.
Boom.
Way up compared to last season. I mean, these double-digit dogs stay barking in Dundee's house. All right. I mean, I hate to brag, but it's just I grew up a big Ric Flair fan. It's part of me. All right.
It doesn't feel right not to throw it in the air. When things are going right, you gotta celebrate life. Let's be honest.
I am celebrating life. Hopefully Hawaii can continue to celebrate my life. Because we'll all be dead. You know what I mean? One day you're gonna look back at these dominating performances. Right?
I mean, they're just going to be in history.
Kenny Burns gonna be doing a documentary about these. All right,
the database is
called
unbelievable.
Pick Dundee
2024. Yeah, we need who's the guy that used to announce NFL films? John Facendo.
Yeah. He's a fucking.
Get his voice on your documentary.
He's knighted.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I am joined by my co-host. He might be knighted one day too. Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi-oh. Well,
whoa! I played your wrong shit.
Give me my jam.
There we go.
There we go.
Do the Heisman. Give me that Heisman. All right. Give me that Pavia Heisman. Just right on the pisser.
Yeah.
All right. Shout out to It's Eric, and he's letting us know that it's Eric. We appreciate the $5, and just
There's no shame in getting pissed on. All right. He was at the Kentucky game. There's no shame in getting pissed on.
There's a little shame in getting pissed on. Let's see.
Well, no, in real life, yes, but not when it's Pavia. All right.
Yeah, not when it's Pavia. Maybe not if it's Pam Anderson. But aside from
70.
those two, yeah,
And her piss ain't clean anymore.
That happened. Yeah. It's not so much shame as it is like biohazard.
Anyway, what a buddy! I just am having a really good season, man.
Feeling good.
I am.
Good.
I feel
What went well?
all
today?
that summer, all that work in the summers. I mean, look, I feel like I feel like I have decent seasons that every year for the most part. I feel like COVID year was hard.
Yeah.
But I still feel like this year,
Vandy's
really having
real
a
good.
great year.
Yeah.
Like I'm really having a great year.
Love it.
Let's just get right into it because Mac Brown was trying to run out the clock. I'm sorry, not Mac Brown. Georgia Tech was trying to run out the clock, and
Mac Brown would have liked it if they had run out the clock.
I was thinking it was going to be overtime. And Jamal Haynes, who is a dog, busted like a 70-yard touchdown, and Georgia Tech won 41-34 after North Carolina came all the way back. And frankly, North Carolina should have had the lead if the receiver didn't drop a touchdown in the end zone.
Was that in the final minute of the game
when he ran this in?
16
seconds.
16 seconds. Ridiculous.
They're just doing a regular run to get to overtime.
68-yard touchdown run. Gosh.
Fucking unbelievable. Now I will say this was, I'm not going to sit here and lie to the people because there's no lock on the page, but it was a wager.
Nice.
Yeah.
There
So
you go.
I kind of got very fortunate here.
Yeah, I would say so.
But anyway, I mean, dude, Georgia Tech, just Mac Brown can't beat Georgia Tech. He's now 1-4.
Wow.
Against these Yellow Jackets.
What is Georgia Tech's ACC record? I got to pull up the standings real quick, but I feel like they're kind of in control.
They beat Syracuse. They beat Florida State. Who the fuck did they lose to? They lost to somebody. Who was it? No, they lost to Syracuse.
Was
right?
that? Yeah, they lost to
Syracuse. They lost to Syracuse. Shout out to Terrell Furman in the chat. I will get to your I'm done fading Iowa State. Done fading Iowa State.
3-2 in conference. They must have lost to someone else. They're 5-2 overall, but 3-2.
Who else did they lose to? Is it Duke? No, they beat Duke, right?
You got to get that open for.
Who else did they lose to?
They lost to Syracuse and Louisville.
Yeah, there we go.
Yep.
Louisville, as Kramer says. Yeah, I mean, it's still a big win. They're still in the mix. I don't think they're real contenders, but I mean,
yeah.
When I see them hosting Miami in a little bit, I'm like, that's a winnable game for the Yellow Jackets.
Yep.
Missouri bodied UMass.
Yeah.
Dude, UMass had a chance. It was 21-3. Late second quarter. UMass gets the ball all the way down to like the Missouri 8. And they have momentum because they've turned over Missouri, I think it was.
Yeah.
And like you could see it. They're like kind of like behind it. And there's like 6 seconds before the half or 10 seconds before the half. And
like
Fumachikon throws a pick the other way. And the guy almost takes it to the house. He gets stopped at like the 20-yard line and they kick a field goal because there was still like 2 seconds on the clock. That was a gigantic swing because you went from it being 21-10 to 24-3. And
at halftime, yeah.
I mean, they would have got their ass whooped regardless. UMass is fucking horrible.
Let me ask you this: Is
yeah.
Missouri like Tennessee and Ole Miss in the fact that they can hang up huge numbers on lesser competition, but the offense seriously bogs down against even decent competition?
I don't know that Missouri's any good, but I think this is starting to remind me of 2007
in terms of all the
I don't know who the fuck is really that good.
Yeah.
I mean, we just saw Idaho, the Vandals, get destroyed by Montana State. Idaho almost beat Oregon. Oregon has now maybe the best win of the season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mizzou survives and moves along.
Much sense of anything.
No, it's reminding me of 07, which was, just fantastic. I will say I did eat a big old bag of shit on Rutgers. What the hell was this?
Man, 2 straight weeks. I mean, I guess last week was respectable enough for Rutgers, but this week
Last week there's no shame in that loss.
Yeah.
This one at home, you bring your good old fan base out there to see this.
I guess it was Wisconsin that's been impressive for 2 straight weeks.
Yes, they've been Braden Locke. They turn a switch. Did they unlock Braden Locke? Patty C.
Hello. Apparently. How many points did they hang last week on
52,
and then 42 this week on Rutgers, who I imagine has had a pretty good defense up to this point in the year.
I think it's been decent, but not as good as last year. But still, it's been a good defense. Yeah. And the thing that stands out, Patty C, is the fact that like they went all in on running the ball. Wisconsin did. I'm counting what? Let's see if I can figure this out here. 34. I'm counting like 46 rushing attempts.
Yeah, that's the Wisconsin.
Barry Alvarez give did he sit down? Luke Fickell, look, we have a thing we do around here. All right, it's been fun with your little dairy raid foo nonsense. But dominating performance.
Getting back to their bread and butter, and look, Wisconsin's looking like
they
Wisconsin
rushed for 309 yards today.
That's getting it done. There is a game coming up between them and Iowa. How many weeks away are we from that?
Next week they're at Northwestern.
Do they play?
They're
Iowa?
Lakeside. Yeah, they get Iowa in like 3 weeks. Look at they're about to get really fucked up. They better get Northwestern next week because after that's Penn State, Iowa, Oregon, and at Nebraska. So yeah,
things aren't going to get much easier for old Wisconsin.
But that's a great win. I got to be honest. If you ask me, Dundee, what game were you most wrong about? This was the one.
Well,
I felt fairly decent about my play with Rutgers.
To be fair, I mean, again, it's hard to really tell what's going on because Alabama, who squeaked by South Carolina, and we'll get to that, annihilated Wisconsin. And so you thought, hey, maybe Wisconsin's not that good if you try and compare some of the other results of Alabama. I know, granted, Alabama was won just a week ago, but then they go and lose to Vanderbilt. It's just week to week, you're getting a very different product from a lot of these teams.
Very true. And I'm here to tell you, we'll just go right into the Alabama. Alabama's lucky. If Lenora Sellers doesn't fumble that option, I don't know that they have enough offensive firepower to win that game.
Yeah.
That fumble at that interception in the end zone, they didn't make them pay for that interception in the end zone.
Yeah.
Had they done
2 plays later, the ball.
I'll be honest, man. Yeah. I even think if they play again, I don't even know that I would take Bama. Like, there's something wrong right now. They're too predictable, or something is up because. Well, first off, the line of scrimmage. Like I thought, Rocket Sanders and South Carolina were kind of pulling a Pavia, and kind of getting some push on that front seven. For the Tide there. It's easy to see a Tide turn, but Patty C. Another thing is like if South Carolina had a kicker,
would have helped.
He transferred to Notre Dame this past offseason. So I mean that has been.
A Beamer of all people.
You just wonder.
Even though his special teams was fantastic when it counted most in one regard with the onside kick.
South Carolina outgained Alabama 374 to 313.
Impressive. Beamer is
rushed the
coming
ball
up
more.
On the short end of the stick in these huge, program shifting potentially.
Honestly,
games.
if they probably have the kicker that transferred to Notre Dame, they probably beat Well, they should have beat LSU. They got robbed by the refs.
Yeah,
but they also missed the field goal.
If they had wins over LSU and Alabama at this point in the year, Shane Beamer would get a big ass extension. I would imagine he'd be the toast of the town.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man.
That close.
Where are you at with Bama? Because like you look at this, you say they have one loss.
Let's see there.
And they are at Tennessee, who looks very questionable too. But they have the only game that looks for sure now is Mercer. I feel like every one of these games could be very, very questionable.
So just to review, it's at Tennessee, hosting Missouri, a bye week before going to LSU. Yeah, those are 3 potential losses.
Yeah, I even think they could lose at Oklahoma, even though their offense sucks.
And certainly Auburn if they play their best ball, as we've seen a million times before. So, yeah, I think Alabama has at least 1, maybe 2 more losses, and if they're 9-3, I don't think Alabama's making the play.
I don't think they should be in the top 10 personally.
Yeah.
You think that's a ridiculous statement?
The win over Georgia should hold a lot of weight, and now the dominant win over Wisconsin
looks pretty good. Annihilating Western Kentucky is looking like a pretty good win, and killing USF, whatever. I mean,
Western Kentucky was starting the wrong quarterback, but yeah, I mean,
and even the loss to Vanderbilt a week after. No, I think Alabama should probably be top 10 still.
Well, I don't understand how they
resume wise, but I don't think they look like.
I don't think they should be. If I was voting, I would not put them in the top 10.
Just based on how good you in your power rankings or on their resume.
I don't think they're that. Like when you watch them, do they look like a top 10 team right now?
No, they look like a flawed team again. But granted, they were a pretty darn flawed team last year and came pretty close.
Never like this though. The line of scrimmage, dude.
Line of scrimmage was terrible last year too.
I feel like this year it's really bad. Man.
Yeah, there's something wrong.
Like I don't know. Like I don't think they should be in the top 10, but maybe I'm crazy. I mean, I didn't think they were the better team today. The stats back me up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's
like,
fair.
I mean, they got up early first quarter. But I'd say the rest of the game, I thought South Carolina was better.
Yeah, Milroe needed to put it together.
That fucking fumble was so huge. If you just run the ball and punt,
yeah,
I actually think they win that game.
Yeah, I mean, what was there? Probably like 4 or 5 minutes left when maybe 6 minutes.
I think 6, something like that. But still, like they were showing like South Carolina's defense. It was doing.
They were up by how many? 5 at that point, 19-14.
Yeah,
yeah. If they could have just, they could have just punted it down and made out
right there.
Yeah, that was terrible.
And poor South Carolina sitting there at 3-2, but or 3-3, right? 3-3 now. Did cash on this one, and by the way, I lost on Alabama too. I did end up betting Alabama, but I cashed on the Army Black Knights. The modern game does not impress me, Patty C. It does for Army though.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I'll tell you what. The old game does impress, or it should impress him. We're talking about what the fuck?
Jeff Monken?
No. Who's the coach that?
Trent Dilfer.
Trent Dilfer is not impressed by the modern game. But since Jeff Monken's running the oldest style of football in the book, maybe that should impress Trent Dilfer, because what was the final? 44-10 in that one?
Yes, 44-10 and just dominance. They laid off.
Yeah.
That shit was like
34-3 at half. I think. Yeah.
34-3 at half.
Bryson Daly, 3 or 4 touchdown rushes and a touchdown pass.
Dog.
It's kind of putting up some Heisman numbers.
I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Now Army moves to 6-0, right?
Yeah.
And now the problem for Army is East Carolina's next, which is the game that we know they'll lose. I'm being serious, and then they'll hit rough. They'll bounce back against Air Force. But love the Black Knights and what they're doing. Great story to this college football season.
If we're being serious, you really think that are they hosting or are they going down?
Hosting.
They're hosting ECU.
I'll say this. I look at if you take out Notre Dame, right?
Yeah.
East Carolina is the team that I think scares that. Like ECU has the defensive line to fuck with Army. Right? I believe that.
Yeah.
Right? Now, at the same time, East Carolina's quarterback throws an interception like once every 6 passes, and Mike Houston misses 4 out of every 5 field goals. So, but I just think ECU's style of play could be dangerous for Army. More dangerous than, to me, like when I see Army against North Texas.
Probably.
Yeah.
I would say this. The game that I would assume would be closer. I mean, almost all of Army's games have been, well, all of them have been the opposing team scoring within 7 to 14 points. So their defense is very predictable in what they're going to let up. And offensively, most of their games are putting in the high 30 to high 40 range, somewhere in that, pretty much low 40s. So I think like a 42-10 game is pretty much what you should expect out of Army every week. The one exception was Florida Atlantic, and I would guess the ECU game looks closer to that one, like 24-7 maybe.
Yeah, Clark's in the chat. You think they're going to hold ECU to 7 points?
What is ECU
ECU's
doing?
been able to score.
It's true.
Yeah. How do we feel about Army tweeting out that they're the first bowl eligible team? That was a loser tweet, says Clark. Shout out to Clark.
Why is that a loser tweet?
Well, because no one cares about bowl games anymore.
And are they? Isn't Indiana already 6-0? Or no? Are they only 5-0?
I think they're bowl. No, I think they were the first. Clark, are you sure? Yeah.
That's a loser tweet.
That is a loser tweet by that too, by many regards. There.
No, it's not a loser tweet for Army. Going bowling is like a banner year for them. So let them have their moment there. And look, Army is one game away from going over on their preseason win total. It's 6.5.
I hate to tell you this. I'm on the money line with ECU next week.
You're out of your mind. You keep fading Army. You haven't.
What do you mean?
Yet.
I bet on them today.
Well, I mean preseason. You told me FAU was going to beat them. You told me Rice was going to beat them.
No, I did not.
Well, you were not. I would love to go
Army
back. I think you had them at like 4-2 at best through.
I had FAU, but that was before I did the FAU preview. Once I did the FA preview, I even alerted you that I go, you know what? I didn't realize every fucking player for FAU transferred out.
Fair.
So then I told you that I'm backing off that.
Okay. Fair.
But yes, at one point I did say that FAU was going to beat Army. So both could be right.
6-0, 6-0. And I think you're still sleeping on Army. I think Notre Dame and Navy are the only two teams that will challenge them on this schedule.
Really? I can't wait for next week's show already.
ECU hasn't looked that good yet.
Dude, they're up 17-0 on Liberty and App State and lost both those games.
True.
Like,
okay,
they could very easily be. Now,
fair.
Charlotte was the game that you could say the dud.
Yeah.
Whatever happened there, but like they blew 17-point leads against App.
Liberty doesn't
Liberty.
look that good, and neither does App.
True, but I'm just saying,
but they're
like,
still respectable teams.
Well, and to me, the questionable thing to me is ECU's pass defense. Army doesn't pass that much.
Yeah, Army doesn't pass that much, and and I don't know that Army has had to. I think Army I think they have the #1 rush defense in the nation, Army, or right up there.
Well, that makes sense because they bleed the clock. All the service academies are always top 10 because there's only like 6 possessions in the game.
That's true.
But buddy, I'm here to celebrate Army, and here you are trying to fucking argue with me. All right,
Army doing well. Army
it's not my fault that next week we're all going to be going. But I will be celebrating my Army win for the next few days before we have to get to that game. Shout out to the Black Knights. You know I love Army football. Folks, what to tell you that the college football experience. Well, right now we're asking for your help because if you didn't notice, Hurricane Helene has been absolutely devastating to the people of Western North Carolina, and we're doing our part to try to help out. SGPN is teaming up with the local charity mountainprojects.org to help give back. And the biggest donation will get a guest spot on our college football pick show and also a ton of SGPN gear. So please, if you can, go to mountainprojects.org, hit flood support. We've done our due diligence. We're actually going to help real people. We're not buying some guy's chicken cutlet at Peter Luger's. You know what I mean? So you never know. You know, you actually have to do your due diligence there. It actually took us a few days to figure that out. But anyway, please jump on over there, hit flood support, mountainprojects.org, and let's make a difference because these people's lives have been really fucked up by these hurricanes, man. So please, if you can, we'd be very grateful. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports: NFL, college football, CFL, MLB, MMA, WNBA, NASCAR, and much, much more. And their lobby is jam-packed with profit boost. You can now use specials and boost on all flex entries as well. So sign up, and when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. All right, we are back.
By the way, speaking of Army and Indiana, just seeing a tweet right now saying that those are the only 2 teams that have not trailed at any point this season.
True.
Pretty damn impressive to go half a season without trailing.
Hold on, if I'm playing devil's advocate though, if we want to talk about the Army thing one more time, and Moneyline Mac, I'll throw this at you too. You know I love Army. If they weren't playing ECU, I would be all on board. But I do want to note that they played Lehigh, who is 500 in the FCS ranks right now. They played Florida Atlantic, who is now 2-4. They played Rice, who is 1-4. They played Temple, who is 1-5. They played Tulsa, who is 2-4. They played UAB, who is 1-5. So
not exactly murderer's row so far.
If you want to, just ECU
Pump
at
the brakes.
ECU at 3-3 is like, damn, we got a real team coming to town.
Got to get up for old 500 over here. Man, I mean, what Air Force is sitting there at what now?
The Air Force is horrible.
And then North Texas, they're not.
No, they won today. They stormed back. They're a phony 5-1, but they're 5-1.
North Texas. Wow.
Remember they were down. We were watching it.
Yeah, that was an incredible comeback.
That was a wild comeback.
Who are they playing again?
FAU.
FAU.
Yeah.
Gosh.
But even UTSA has a losing record. Patty C, the only teams above 500 left are Navy, Notre Dame, North Texas, which is a phony one, and then ECU. All right, let's go.
Hey, I mean, second half of the schedule much harder than the first half, as you just pointed out. So we'll see what Army's really made of here shortly.
Yes. Moving along. Clemson, Wake Forest.
Game was close for a while.
I can't remember. I do so many shows. I can't remember which ones I don't know if I was on Sports Grid. I don't know if it was the pregame show. I don't know if it was when I was on VSiN last night. But one of those ones asked me, would I just take the Clemson team total instead of laying the 21? And I was weary of laying the 21. So if anything, I would say take Wake. So I just said, yeah, take the team total. I think it was over 42.5.
Nice.
And I was like, that's my advice for playing this game. Now I didn't actually do that, so I can't hold my dick in the air too much. But I'm saying that did come to fruition. 49-14. Clemson, Patty C, to me, this is where I would argue with you. Clemson lost to Georgia, got smacked. Clemson deserves to be ahead of Alabama.
Through one half of football,
Clemson deserves to be ahead of Alabama. They looked better. They looked dominant besides that one game.
Well,
Alabama has not looked dominant.
In dominating
the South Florida
Wisconsin,
game,
they were dominant.
Okay, but they also knocked out the starting quarterback
dominating
on the first
Western Kentucky, they were.
Who gives a fuck about that? I'm saying South Florida, Vandy, South Carolina, and the second half of the Georgia game. You're sitting there saying, man, they got the win against Georgia, but I'm just saying.
You can't pick and choose like that.
They look
the first half of the Georgia game. They look completely dominant.
Okay, but Clemson has had all they did was lose the second half to Georgia at halftime. What was that thing? It was like 3-0 or something. Wasn't it 7-0? What was the score of that Clemson Georgia game at the half?
I think it was like 14.
No, it was 6-0 Georgia.
Oh, it was 6-0.
So one bad half of football. Besides that, they've been absolutely fucking dominant.
And then Georgia just completely opened it up.
Yes, they scored 28 in the second half.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Clemson. I can't believe how, based on how prolific their offense has been for the rest of the year, how much they struggled week one against Georgia. I think that you can't really take anything away from Georgia. I think you got to give Georgia credit for that.
Sure, but my point is that like this is where, like, if you're not watching the fucking games. And look, I have nothing against fucking Bama. I like Kalen DeBoer, right? I'm just saying that they haven't looked good.
Yeah, I would say that if I were to bet on Alabama versus Clemson in a neutral site, I would think maybe Clemson by 3 right now.
But I don't even think we should
just
think like
I
that.
Trust their offense a little more.
I'm just saying, like, they are dominating their competition, where Alabama is not. If anything, Alabama, the more the weeks have gone along, the worse they've looked.
Wait, let's. Alabama has played who again? Western Kentucky, that was dominant.
Yes, South Florida, which was a much closer game than the final score.
That was not
indicates.
Dominant, but the final score says it is, but it wasn't.
And by the way, if you want to quote South Florida's record, we can do that too.
I'm sure it's not good.
They're, I think, 2-4. Are they 2-4? Is that what it is? Let me see right now. 2-4.
Yeah, that was questionable. And Wisconsin, I think it took them a little while to pull away on Wisconsin.
Nah, they whooped Wisconsin's ass.
Second quarter,
sure, Van Dyke gets injured, but that has nothing to do with it. Yeah.
Georgia, the fact that they were able to come back on Vanderbilt when they needed to.
You mean Georgia?
No, on Vandy when they needed to, because they came.
Vandy dominated. Dude. I watched that game twice this past week here at the studio.
Yeah,
that was no fluke. Vanderbilt
was better
than their fucking
but when they needed to put their foot on the gas, they were able to throw the ball down the field to Ryan. Was it Williams? Yeah.
Vanderbilt still outgained them, and I think the big thing in that game, Patty C, Alabama was 3 of 7 on third downs. Vanderbilt was 12 of 18. Vanderbilt whooped their ass.
Vanderbilt definitely outplayed them. I'll agree with you. And then South Carolina, I would say Clemson looks like a slightly better team to me, but Clemson, I don't trust the level of competition that they've played. It hasn't impressed me necessarily.
Sure. I mean, you could say Alabama's played a better schedule, but at the same time, at least Clemson's been dominant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's fair though. I would say Alabama has played a better schedule.
I would have them about equal. I mean, the fact that they do have a common opponent that whooped Clemson's ass and that Alabama beat, that suggests that maybe Alabama should on that alone.
Yeah, but it was at Tuscaloosa. It's not like Georgia came to Clemson.
That's true.
So it's hard to measure those. You know what I mean?
I mean that game was in Atlanta, so it's pretty much
that was a Georgia home game. They play in Atlanta like 20 times a year.
Yeah.
Anyway, shout out to Clemson. They look good against a shitty Wake Forest team. And then shout out to myself for my largest wager for one game. It was on the Iowa Hawkeyes. Washington 16, Iowa 40 points by the Hawkeyes.
Getting her done.
Patty C. I'm a big fan of this guy, Caleb Johnson.
Yeah.
And this Iowa rushing attack. 220 on the ground today.
Pretty impressive.
Will Lawn Chair Rogers.
I believe Caleb Johnson came into the week second in the nation in rushing, added another 166 yards on 21 carries. Good for about 8 yards a carry, 7.9.
Yeah.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to quote Beanick, Iowa was the lock of the century. It was just so obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is where we do need to have that conversation. I had Iowa going 10-2, maybe even 11-1. They didn't. They got upset by Iowa State, even though they were up a lot of that game.
Yeah.
But Iowa State, to their credit, came back and won that game. They get smacked at Iowa State like they do. At Ohio State like they do every time.
Yeah.
To me, they're close. Like this was one. I mean, I felt good about this game. I'm not gonna lie, but I will say Washington was ahead of schedule to me, to Jed Fish's credit. And you look at the remaining schedule for Iowa, and I don't want to get ahead of myself because they play, but at Michigan State next week, then home to Northwestern, home to Wisconsin, at UCLA, at Maryland, who looked great last night, and home to Nebraska. Now, in theory, sure, they could lose to Northwestern. I feel like Northwestern gives them a hard time in Iowa City, even.
Yeah.
But my point is, they should be favored in every single one of these games.
The fact that they're hosting Wisconsin
and Nebraska.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Patty C, 10-2, they're in, right?
Yeah. Although I feel like it's more likely that they lose one of those games than it is that they run the remaining table. But I would favor them in each individual game. So if they just lock in and play football one game at a time, yes, it is possible they finish 10-2, which I think should put them in the playoff.
I mean, and then a 1 point loss to Iowa State. We'll see what Iowa State does, but obviously, they're looking great.
They're in the driver's seat of the Big 12 right now.
I mean, something just beautiful about Iowa football.
You know, it's beautiful.
Your
to
boy
me.
had a couple great returns too.
Oh, Weegan?
Yeah,
my dude. I wanted to see his stat line. But here's an interesting stat for you. And I've said this before, but it's particularly obvious this week. 6 of the top 10 leading passers of this week took L's. 9 of the top 10 leading rushers.
Passing's dead, man.
Took wins.
It's like disco.
Well, you just have to
passing's
pass the ball
like disco.
when you're down.
It's dead. All right, you don't want that shit.
Football
is actually coming back to its core.
Speaking of Iowa, Spencer Petras was today's leading passer for Utah State. 461 yards on, get this, 59 attempts. That's probably more.
He got a lot of charity. There more attempts than he's gotten in a whole fucking career in Iowa.
Yeah. Exactly.
Patty, see, this was an easy play though. This will quadruple lock, I think, on the SGP show or on the pick show with you and Nick. What's your ceiling on this Iowa team?
I think they could win a playoff game.
I mean, with Ohio State losing, Ohio State has a tiebreaker on Iowa, but Ohio State could lose to another school.
Yeah, they could find themselves in the Big Ten championship. Yeah. Probably not, though. I think, Ohio State would have to lose to presumably Penn State and then Indiana or Michigan.
Yeah.
And then Iowa could jump them. Yeah, it's possible.
Well, this next one is why I think people subscribe. And if they're not subscribing, why they should subscribe.
What's that one?
I locked up. And I even gave this out on the morning show as one of my strongest plays. I didn't say just take Buffalo plus 10 or 10.5 points, whatever the fuck that was. I said they're going to win it on the money line.
That was a hell of a play.
Oh, plus what was that? 340, I think it was. 330, something like that.
Boom.
Fuck with the Bulls. You get Pick Dundee and the horns, motherfucker. Let's go Bulls, Pete Lembo. Nobody comes into Lembo Field and gets a dub, Petty C.
They kicked ass too.
They are on top of it.
30-15 over Toledo.
Get this bullshit out of here with your goddamn rocket shooting off in the sky. All right?
Impressive. Nice little turnaround.
This is a
here.
free show. This is a free show. You don't see me doing Vegas Dave videos. Oh man, buddy, that call was fantastic because I gave that away on a couple picks show, and they're like, "You're really going to take?" Toledo's always the best team in the MAC. Well, no, I think Buffalo's going to beat them. Buffalo and food for thought. If you know the MAC, Buffalo in general always fucks with Toledo.
That game.
It's always like it's always one of the teams that fucks with Toledo.
I wonder why that is.
It was right after the Miami Ohio game who they got revenge. Because Miami Ohio had beat him in the MAC championship last year.
Yeah.
It was a great spot. It was just a great spot. And that is why you subscribe to the goddamn podcast.
21-0 Buffalo was up in the third quarter.
Yeah.
And then they were up 30-7. And then Toledo kind of dressed it up 30-15 at the final score. Touchdown with 5 minutes left in the game. Yeah. That was a dominant win. Great call.
Yeah. There's no sweating. No sweating at all in this game.
Yeah.
This was just cruise on in. What is it? What does Ric Flair say? Hold on. Where the fuck is this? He says something about this when he's going into New Orleans. Cruising on in. I get on I-25 or some shit like that. I gotta find it. Here we go.
Get my limousine, ride on 85, get my Learjet, woo, and take off to New Orleans. You got it, New Orleans. If you're watching right now, I'm 42,000 feet easing on in. Because in several hours, woo, I'm going to walk that out. Look at his old little nature boy can look. Oh, so fine. I'm not even going to tell you. It's going to be Janie on my left and Mary on my right, but I'm not telling any of you which one of my robes I'm wearing till I get there tonight. The bottom
That's Pete Lembo right there.
That's Pete Lembo right there. He's doing. Look, Buffalo is one of the last stadiums in the FBS that has a track around their stadium. Pete Lembo's just going around the track, just
cruising.
Got a microphone, sounding like fucking Ric Flair. It's fantastic.
Buffalo is lit right now.
Oh man! Shout out to the great Ric Flair.
4-2. What has the record been?
That's
for the
what's
past
hilarious. I can't help but notice Maurice Lindquist leaves Buffalo for the Alabama D position, and the Alabama D position is looking a lot like Buffalo's season last year. And Pete Lembo walks on in. He's getting it done.
New sheriff in town.
Let's go. All right. Just fantastic. Then the shout out to the bet detective CJ Sullivan, by the way, who was on South Carolina plus 21 and sprinkled the money line. I know it didn't hit. What a ballsy fucking call after the week Bama loses to do that. The bet detective was also on this one. I picked this correctly. What's that?
Bama hasn't lost 2 in a row since like 2008. I want to say Saban's first year.
But the SEC also, you got to see. Can you cipher through that bullshit a little bit though?
Oh yeah, they never played 2 hard opponents in a row.
Yeah, it's like we were talking about this. Maybe when I was in Tempe, it was like it's like I think it was UCLA played like Oregon, Penn State, and LSU 3 games in a row.
Yeah,
you're like that never happens to any of the good schools.
Yeah.
Like no one plays 3 games.
Your
like
stats
that.
get real inflated when your schedule is always the best possible.
Anyway. Ball State, your boys, 37. Kent State, 35. The bet detective covered
I
the
can't
7
believe
points.
that one didn't cover it. Ball State was whooping their ass. Kent State backdoored the shit out of that.
Dude, Ball State was once up. I want to say it was like 28-7. And just don't count out Kenny Burns and Kent State. They come roaring back
for the cover.
For the cover. That's what great teams do. Tommy Ulatowski, the quarterback for Kent State, 17 of 36. He's definitely not
There's
accurate.
never been a more Mac quarterback than Tommy Ulatowski.
Tommy Ulatowski. He's definitely not accurate. 17 of 36, but he threw for 394 yards and 4 touches. So when those things connect, they go the distance. All right. Shout out to the great Kent State cover. I was hoping that Eastern Michigan would knock off Miami, Ohio. Not the truth. So I have to wait one more win to cash my over on Eastern Michigan. Shout out to Miami, Ohio for getting it done.
I thought Miami, Ohio was gonna. Or I thought Eastern Michigan was gonna get that one done.
I thought so too.
Everything pointed
I
towards
thought so too.
Eastern Michigan finally being
Gut
a pretty
check
good
game for Miami, Ohio.
Yeah.
Old Dominion took down Georgia State 21-14. Patty C, we were on the Monarchs.
Impressive.
Memphis took down South Florida. This is one that sucks that I bet because I bet this early in the week last week. I bet a lot of my games on Sundays, and I didn't know that they would move the game first. Not only the day but also the location.
Yeah, there was nobody in the whole stadium.
Oh, and then Byron Brown didn't play, and you're just like, "Fuck, man!"
A lot of factors here.
I'm just pissing money down the street.
Yeah.
Right. And I ain't that Pavia piss. All right. Clemson, Memphis 21, USF 3. Memphis. That's a huge win for Memphis.
What, 10-point spread?
No, it was 8. I think.
Dropped down to 8.
Yeah, or 9, 8. I forget what number I got it at. I think it closed at 10 because of the movement. But like I said, I got the worst of that number. I got that at like 7 or something.
Yeah.
7.5.
Still felt good about it.
Well, before when you placed that last Sunday, the whole world changed.
Yeah.
Like the hurricane came through and it was like, fuck. Anyway, shout out to Memphis as I eat it there. Cal and Pitt was a classic, 17-15, and Pitt is 6-0 now. Patty C.
They're counterfeit.
I picked this incorrectly. Cal misses a field. How about this? Cal's 3-3.
Yeah.
Cal, if they could make 3 field goals that they missed, or 4, they would be
6-0.
They would be 6-0.
Yeah.
It's such a California thing to do.
Yeah. Find ways to lose. Yeah.
But Narduzzi 6-0, Patty C, and we must talk about Pitt. They on Thursday night, nationally televised, are hosting the Syracuse Orangemen. If they win that, they'll be 7-0. Heading into Gerald Ford
They're
Stadium.
playing this Thursday?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh no.
They skip a week.
They get a bye week.
Okay.
But you look at that remaining schedule. They are counterfeit, but it's favorable.
They're hosting Syracuse. Then what do we got?
At SMU.
That's a tough
That'll
one.
be a loss probably. But they
Maybe.
can lose one. They haven't lost one yet.
Yeah.
Home to UVA.
Probable win.
Home to Clemson.
That's a tough one. They'll probably lose that.
Clemson's never won in Heights.
That's true. What
I think they're 0-2.
What is the date of that game? That is
November
November 16th. So maybe the weather's a factor there.
At Louisville. That'll be a loss probably. Or at Boston College.
They're going to take a couple losses.
But if they only lose 2 of those, they're going to be in the ACC championship.
Yeah, exactly.
And
if you're there, then 50-50 shot you're in the playoff. So
there you go. Pitt Panthers. Let's go Narduzzi. Your Cincinnati Bearcats 19, UCF 13. Patty C, the floor is yours.
that was a sweat, but
they were up. They were like in control of that game.
They were, but they allowed
no KJ Jefferson. Went with Ja'Cory Brown.
Yep. Sorsby played pretty well, I guess. Enough to keep them somewhat comfortably in the lead, but it wasn't comfortable enough, and they found themselves, UCF 15 yards away or 20 yards away with 3 seconds left, throwing the ball into the end zone. That could have gone wrong. And how did they miss a few extra point? Cincinnati, they did. So stupid mistakes like that didn't end up costing them today, but will continue to make close games harder for them. And that's basically what happened against Pitt. Didn't they miss an extra point against Pitt?
I think they did.
Yeah. So that cost them that game. And
they wouldn't happen to have any ties with East Carolina, would they?
Yeah, right. Exactly. And then missed field goals against Texas Tech cost them. So yeah, since you still got to get it figured out. But again, he's doing a pretty good job to have them in games at the end. I think since he still has a chance in the Big 12 this year.
Yeah, I think so too. Shout out to Ron Lowney. Did I bet big on Montana State? No, I took Idaho. Wasn't that big, but I did lose money on Idaho. Check out the FCS college football experience. Shout out to Montana State. I know you're a Bobcat fan. Shout out to that, Ron. The big win for Cincy. UCF is struggling more than I thought they would this year. How about this Akron game? This shit got called because of lightning. More made up storms. Akron loses by 10. This game was delayed, and then it was delayed so long they said, you know what? No one's going to be staying up late for this Akron football game. Buddy, we were watching a little bit of this, and it was just gut wrenching because Akron was dominating the game. I wonder if they voided the bets. Anyone know if they voided the bets on this game? Because I think Akron was getting 9.5, and they lose by 10, but they're still like 5-10 minutes on the clock. Did they finish it? How did I miss that? They finished it? I didn't catch that, but
let me see what the total stats here were. Akron 413 total yard. No, sorry, 501. Western Michigan 387.
Dude, Akron is they're the team that just shoots themselves in the foot every fucking play. They could have an 80-yard run. The next play, you know, it's going to be a fumble.
4 turnovers to 0. That is the story.
80-yard run,
game.
Fumbled snap.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. To be Munson, to be up a creek without a paddle.
That's right.
All right, folks. Shout out to those Broncos, but I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by BetUS. Bet with the bet with the best in the business. I can't talk. BetUS. BetUS has been around for more than 30 years. You can easily deposit using cryptocurrency and get lightning fast payouts. Sign up and deposit $100. You have a chance to win a 1960 Ford Mustang. Whew. So get on over there. Use our link to sign up and get a 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus. Promo code SGPN so they know that we sent you. Here's one for you if you want to get real swift. All right, I'm gonna zig when they zag. Let's go to Thanksgiving Monday. Patty C. It's Canadian Thanksgiving. The Ottawa Red Blacks are taking on the Montreal Alouettes. Give me the Red Blacks and the points. All right,
I'll take your word for it.
There we go. Happy Thanksgiving. There's some gravy for your stuffing. All right. Anyway, check out BetUS. Once again, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus. Promo code SGPN so they know that we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sports book. And that's an early morning Monday game too. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. SGPN's proud partner. Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, props. You can copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or you could build your own model and press build me a model and select what you like, and it will adjust to that. Rhythm gives you predictions for betting on every game and player prop, and also has a slew of stats, research, and trend analysis to give you even more betting insight. Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. All right. Yeah, I mean, shout out to the chat. They're doing it. Patty, I gave away some fire money line plays here.
What do you got?
But this one, the money line did not hit. But this is why you back it up with the points. Penn State 33, USC 30. I don't think Penn State had the lead the whole fucking game
pretty
until
damn
overtime.
Close. Yeah, pretty damn close.
But it still hit. I took that 5.5. I know this thing dropped throughout the week, but I thought my money line play should have hit.
Yeah,
up 17-0 was it, or 73?
I think, yeah. USC was firmly in control of that game.
This is a huge fuck up by USC.
Yeah, I mean that's their season,
Yeah.
and Penn State is firmly in the driver's seat for a playoff spot now. Even if they lose to Ohio State, who else did they have? Ohio State and Wisconsin left on there. Even if they lose both of those, at 10-2,
they don't even have. They don't even play the Big Ten champs, the Indiana Hoosiers.
Yeah, they don't play Michigan. They don't play Oregon. A great schedule.
They could slip up November 23rd at Minnesota.
They could. That's an important one. Minnesota's been playing good ball of late, obviously. So, but hey, that was a crazy win. They battled their ass off and got that win. So hats off to Penn State. Drew Aller, 3 interceptions, but overcame that. Nicely done.
Yeah, and for Franklin to go in there and get a big win, Clark brings up a good point.
I think tide turning. As I remember, I was raised in the desert, but tides kind of turn. It's easy to see a tide turn. Did I say those words?
I mean,
total Nicky hire was a great fucking
hire.
Yeah,
that offense is always.
And who's our favorite player in college football? They got no one told me.
Oh my gosh, this guy.
I mean, I actually remember in the Bowling Green game he dominated too. But fucking John Riggins played football today. All right, John Riggins played football today, and I am referring to the great. And when I mean great, I mean fucking great.
Yeah,
Tyler Warren.
Today's leading receiver.
Oh my God. What was the stat line today, Patty?
17 catches for 224 yards and a touchdown.
And he also threw a pass. He also had a rush for 5 yards, I think it was, or 4 yards. He threw a pass for 10 yards.
Yeah.
He even snapped the fucking ball, which he ended up catching. He is the second coming of John Riggins.
John Riggins.
He is. That's John Riggins. I watched John Riggins play football today. All right.
It was like if you put Lepke at tight end, but like he's like Lepke superior, you know.
Buddy, all I know is early in the game, and look, I know he balled out against Bowling Green, but man, today he was like fucking Jordan.
17 catches,
he was dominant.
A lot of them were little dinks and dunks,
fucking dominant. Dude.
But a lot of them were stretching the defense.
I'm like Lincoln Riley called timeout. Double this fucking guy. What's going on here? The guy was incredible.
13 yards per catch, over 13 yards.
Every big play, they just went to him. They're like, okay, this is gonna be. We need 5 yards.
Yeah.
Boom. That's our answer.
Yeah. Automatic.
Where are you at with this one? Talk a little bit about this. Is Lincoln Riley in trouble? New athletic director there, coming over from Washington. They bought him a fucking house down in the Palisades.
I am curious on how fickle the USC fans will be about this, because speaking to some USC fans beforehand, they're like, "Yo, we need to stop just firing coaches once they go through like a year or two of hardship.
We need to stop traveling 6,000 miles."
Yeah, that too. Probably, but
there was this once upon a time there was this conference. It actually still exists. It's just in a way different form. But anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably not helpful for that, but this one was at home and they should have that advantage for themselves.
No, they should have won this game.
They should have won this game. They played pretty well, but they found a way to lose. Yeah. I don't think the fans are going to tolerate too much more of that. Depends on how he finishes the season. What number gets him fired? 8-4.
Penn State did outgain them by over 100 yards though.
Yeah. Penn State battled their ass off and came back. So
that was impressive.
Yeah.
It was very impressive.
Let me. What number gets him fired this year? 7-5.
Penn State should be ahead of Alabama. Well, they are.
Yeah. Penn State's going to be like what, number 4 now?
They were 4 already, I think.
So
right?
Ohio State comes in, takes the loss. So they'll probably be up to 3 now. It's funny because all that chatter about where's James Franklin going? Florida, USC, et cetera, et cetera. He's going to be at Penn State.
He's going to be putting that asphalt down on that new runway.
That's right. That's right. It'll be fun.
You might see James Franklin with a hard hat. All right. And a vest on. Don't worry. He's not going to one of Sandusky's parties. All right. He's just laying down some asphalt. All right.
We got Diddy parties. We got who's
did he go to Penn State?
Absent parties. No. And then in Penn State.
Yeah, man. Fuck.
They got Sandusky parties.
I always wonder why Paterno's glasses were that thick. Anyway, what are we talking about here? San Diego State 27, Wyoming 24. Patty C.
What was the spread on that? It was 2.5.
I think it was 1, right? The Dogs. I actually picked this incorrectly. This game. Hey, Sean Lewis, my guy Sean Lewis. Shout out to Sean Lewis. He needed this one. Because that's what 2 straight wins.
Sitting there at 3-3, San Diego State.
Get to a bowl in year 1. That's a win.
Yeah,
they can tweet out, "Hey, we made a bowl."
Things are not going to get
good. That's a good thing.
Any easier for them though, because Washington State's probably going to beat them. Then Boise will probably beat them.
Yeah, our Wyoming ticket has flushed that thing way the fuck down. I I threw that away a long fucking. I think I actually have to search for it. I think I still have it, but I definitely didn't want to look at it anymore because it was altering my my mood.
Your ego.
Yeah, I'd wake up and I'd just stare at that and what the fuck.
Can't hit them all.
Yes. Well, guys, you know who can hit them all is Notre Dame when they play Stanford with Troy Taylor. Because did I read that what was it? They had it on the bottom line of ESPN. It was like 120 to like the past 2 games of Stanford Notre Dame since Troy Taylor's been there. It's been fucking horrible. Shout out to the Irish. I'm your leprechaun, Patty C. They're probably not going to lose again. Maybe to USC.
They should be better.
Their schedule is fucking garbage.
Notre Dame is hit or miss, but yes, their schedule is garbage. Florida State obviously was supposed to be a big threat to them. Not so much. Virginia could give them a hard time, I think.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, if you're so high on
offensive line's going to get destroyed.
You're so high on Louisville every week. You think Louisville could beat Notre Dame, but you don't think Virginia could beat Notre Dame.
I didn't think Louisville would win on the money line. I took them in the points. Well, I pushed too. I think
the
I
fact
didn't lose that I pushed.
Well, the fact that it was a 7-point game against Louisville, and UVA had the lead against Louisville with under 2 minutes left.
Okay, Trans Patty's arrived.
Trans Patty, a 4-1 Virginia team.
Give us a tuck job. You lost to Maryland. Maryland's fucking horrible.
Okay,
all right?
But
where's your trans job there?
I'm just saying. UVA playing decent football, not terrible football. And Notre Dame been known to slip up a little time to time.
That's true.
Northern Illinois.
You know, the game that I thought was I think I said the game that I thought I was most
last year against Stanford, 56-23. So Notre Dame has scored 105 to 30 over the last 2 years. Yeah, against Stanford.
Buddy. Okay, I was really wrong about the Wisconsin Rutgers game. One that I would have not guessed would ever be like this was Illinois 50, Purdue 49. We got a Big Ten basketball game today.
Yeah,
it was a Big Ten basketball game was played today. What?
Congrats to Purdue for giving it their all, making it a damn.
They were
close
down
game.
at half. They were down 24-3. They scored 23 in the fourth, sending this game to overtime. Hey, I think you found your quarterback. Sorry, Hudson Card. Ryan Brown.
What was his stat line?
18 of 26, 297, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
I mean, if you're gonna come back like that, you almost think you got to win the fucking game.
Yeah, I mean, they would go for 2 and take a 20-yard sack in overtime.
Didn't even get the ball up in the air, man.
Yeah.
Bielema survives. They're ranked. Patty C. Should the Illini be ranked? They're 5-1.
Yes, they should be ranked if they're 5-1. A win is a win.
There's some other teams. Army's not ranked. Patty C.
Well, they should be. Army's sitting there at 6-0. Hold on. So, Eastern Illinois, Kansas, Central Michigan. The win over Nebraska is on the road. Pretty damn good look for Illinois.
That was their best win.
And even the Penn State game was pretty
that
dang
was a
respectable.
14-7 game too, man.
For most of the game.
Yeah, man, they got a garbage score late.
Yeah.
Daniel in the chat saying Arizona State should be ranked over Illinois.
Yeah, Arizona State.
You know why I would agree with that? Because Arizona State's played a lot tougher competition.
Yeah.
But they don't look at that when they're in there. These voters don't look at that.
Penn State. I mean, Illinois has the better loss to Penn State, but Texas Tech is sitting there like what 5-1.
Yeah,
and that's Arizona.
Well,
State's
Arizona State
loss.
also has a win at Texas State.
Solid.
They have a win against Utah. They have a win against. Well, I guess Kansas ain't that good, but Illinois has a win against Kansas too. So I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah, comparable. But I would say Arizona State's more impressive than Illinois.
Mississippi State, who just hung with covered against Texas and Georgia.
Yeah, they did play Georgia pretty close.
There's no phony FCS in there. All right. I love the FCS, but I'm just saying.
How is Eastern Illinois this year?
1 win. Well, unless they won today, which I can't remember.
They did kill them.
No,
so
they lost today.
But it is just a useless game.
Look at this throw. Come on. Can't be YA Tittle every play. All right. Patty C. I ate shit on Texas, Oklahoma. We got up to a 3-0 lead. And I was sitting there with 17 points. I said, we're gonna get the cover. No. Texas 34, Oklahoma 3.
I mean, Texas was so physically abusive in this game. It was very impressive. But Oklahoma completely inept from an offensive standpoint, and the fact that they couldn't establish any physical dominance and the quarterback play. I mean, he was getting assaulted in the backfield.
They only had 237 yards of offense. Even that final drive where they almost got to the end zone.
Yeah,
that
like
that
trash
probably,
time yardage.
That's what I'm saying. They probably only had like $180.
Yeah,
I mean,
Texas is pretty good. Texas is pretty good.
Yeah, I just want to see them against a good offense, though.
Yeah,
they are look good, but they didn't look good early on. But they dominate Oklahoma.
They're hosting?
Is Oklahoma going to be a bowl team this year, Patty C?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
Barely.
It's got to get one.
Beating Auburn was huge.
It was huge.
Yeah.
They host South Carolina next week. Who are you taking there?
That's it's in Norman.
Yeah.
We got to go to Oklahoma. I don't know though.
I think South Carolina.
South Carolina will find a way to lose that game.
That's
close.
True. They will.
Yeah.
They'll miss a field goal.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but yeah, OU's offense is fucking horrible. I lost a bunch of money there. All right, but I hit on BYU. Let's go.
There you go.
BYU 41, Arizona 19. I didn't even remember betting BYU, but I did. Patty C, what do you make of these Cougs with Jake Retzlaff?
I guess you got to be pretty dang impressed. Undefeated.
Should they be ahead of Alabama?
What are they, 6-0 right now?
Yep.
Yeah, they should.
6 or 5, one of the two. No, they're 6-0.
6-0. They came into the week ranked number 14. You got to figure that pushes them maybe into the top 10.
No, I'm sure they'll find a way to hate on them.
Yeah, they'll drop a couple spots.
Shout out to Clark. I know he was with me on this BYU play.
Boom.
BYU at LaVell Edwards Stadium. It's a hard place to go in and grab a dub, man.
What's their remaining schedule?
Nobody walks into the Super Soaker and gets a dub. Let's talk about them. Yeah, let's talk about that. Next week they're home to Oklahoma State, who's fucking horrible.
That's probably a win.
Then they're at UCF.
That's a win.
Yeah. Then we got the Holy War, strangely on November 9th.
Why is
That's
that
in Rice
strange?
Eccles because it's just a weird time to play that.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Should be at the end of the season. Depending on if Cam Rising plays, but I think that him getting tweaked early in that game, he's getting rolled up on his knee, and he was throwing off his back foot and not able to get to his spots, proper launch points. I think that affected Utah and made them look a lot worse against Arizona State and Cam Rising in particular. So if he is able to get better in the upcoming weeks, then that game could be a threat to Utah.
Yeah,
or to BYU.
I mean,
rather.
they still have a tough schedule because they have home to Kansas, which is a weird team. Kansas lose every game by 1 point. Then at Arizona State, who's a juggernaut, and then home to Houston. They still have some battles, but it's gonna be fucking fun to watch.
Yeah,
and
Kalani
Sitake's a good coach, man. I knew last season wasn't really who they were.
Yeah,
I knew that, man.
Who's
they got a
more
case of Keaton Slovis.
Yeah,
Put you in the hospital.
Happens to the best of us.
Put you in the hospital, man.
Who's been more impressive, and who's the realer team, Pitt or BYU?
BYU.
Yeah, I agree.
Without question to me.
Yeah,
Pitt has used they've had a horseshoe up their ass for a lot of these wins. It's been fun, but I'm saying like the Cincinnati game, they're down 20 in the fourth.
Yeah,
they're down 10 with 3 minutes left
against West Virginia.
Against Dub V. Then Cal misses the fucking field goal. Even the Carolina game to a certain extent.
The fact that BYU whooped K-State's ass.
Yeah.
Whooped Arizona.
They've earned it.
They are.
SMU. They went to SMU and got it done.
Got that done. Yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Nice surprise. Kalani Sitake, has surprised me a few times.
He's a good coach.
You think he's a pretty darn good coach?
I do. They were scheduling so goddamn aggressively independent. Yeah. As an independent, that like people are like, well, he's just not that good.
8-5.
It's like, dude, the guy can coach, man.
Yeah.
Relax.
Yeah.
All right.
All 13 games on their schedule are against Power 5.
They would, if we just talked about how Alabama will normally get like one great team and then, it like Texas right now getting Oklahoma and Georgia the next week.
Yeah.
That shit is rare.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in a while. And that includes when they were in the Big 12. This is not only taking shots at the SEC.
Well, this is the new SEC. It had to happen.
Yeah.
With this many teams in there.
But I mean, shout out to Shout out to those Cougs and shout out to Texas for looking really good. Ohio, Central Michigan. We got the cover. Fire up chips. Ohio 27, Central Michigan 25. Jim McElwain, I do think is a coach that could be fired this year. Tough loss, but we got the cover even though we didn't bet it.
Those helmets on Central Michigan.
Fire up chips on the helmet.
That's beautiful.
That was pretty.
Or just
pretty
fire
nice.
up.
Oh yeah. Then we had Bowling Green. NC Nick sprinkled his fairy dust on me. I'm betting Bowling Green left and right these days. Patty C. Northern Illinois 17, Bowling Green 7 at the Doit.
Get right spot for Northern Illinois.
At the Doit,
no less. Impressive, but disappointing for Bowling Green.
Bowling Green moves to 2-4. How the hell was this team like? They almost beat A&M and Penn State.
Yeah,
fascinating.
They're just as good against NIU as they are against Penn State.
That was pass interference. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Louisville 24, Virginia 20. Patty C. I had Louisville -7. That did not hit. Your thoughts on this game and how good Louisville is and how bad Virginia is?
This game went exactly how I thought it would. I thought Virginia would go down. I thought they'd fight and claw their way back in. They went down like 10 at one point, 24-14.
Yeah.
Or no, it wasn't that. It was I forget what the score was.
It was only 7, I think.
Maybe it was like 20 to no, 17-7. I forget what the fuck it was, but either way, Virginia found a way. No, because they got a field goal and then the touchdown to take the lead. So maybe it was only whatever. Look, then they gave it up, and they had it. They had it, dead to rights. But Louisville made a bunch of plays on that final drive to get themselves the lead, and then UVA couldn't convert. So congrats to Louisville for getting it done when they needed to. But I thought UVA was the better team. I thought Louisville was gifted some things by Virginia, namely
great punt.
Yeah, punting right into the butt of your personal protector there. Impressive.
Great crowd too. Glad to see 4-1 Virginia bringing in a team that played in the ACC championship.
Yeah, a team.
Looked like one of my comedy shows. It's like 16 people.
That was bad. It was probably a 1/5 full. Not very impressive UVA.
I feel like even the fans don't even know they're there.
Yeah,
they're just like, they make a wrong turn. Where are we at here?
Oh, this is a nice hill.
Yeah, this is
Let's sit on this hill for a little bit.
Let's sit and watch the graduation. Yeah. Shout out to the Cards for getting that win. They haven't looked as good as I thought they would look this year. I'll say that.
Yeah, and
Virginia has looked better than what I thot they would.
Yeah, that was a good game, and those two always play each other pretty close.
Yeah. Next up, we got Mississippi State, Georgia. Patty C. Georgia doesn't look very good.
They are sus.
They play at Texas next week. Were they just purposely looking bad?
Keeping it vanilla against Mississippi?
Vanilla?
I don't think you keep it vanilla that long against Mississippi State. To be in the fourth quarter, only up 10. What was the final there? Like, let me get that pulled.
The final was 41-31.
41-31.
Yeah.
So,
well, even worse is their performance. If you want to do a classic tuck job and talk about Patty, trans Patty over here. Well, I would say Vanderbilt looked a lot better at Kentucky than Georgia did.
Yeah. I would say Toledo looked a lot better against Mississippi State than Georgia did.
Classic tuck job we're doing here.
That's right.
Buddy, I don't know, man. Georgia's got at Texas, and they had the cocktail party against Florida, which actually we'll see how that one shakes out.
Carson Beck 2 interceptions today, but other than that, 36 of 48, 459 and 3 touchdowns. Nice offensive output. So maybe that's something that we'll see Texas finally have to deal with.
I just realized that Georgia's annual game, I mean the SEC, like I didn't realize the SEC gave them UMass this year. They have UMass on November 23rd.
Well, UMass is finally getting to host some games against SEC competition, so their investment is paying off.
Yeah, once every 5 years they get a home game. That's part of the deal.
That's right.
Part of being the 17th member. It's like the what do they say? The 13th floor, right?
Of what is
right?
It?
Don't they say the 13th floor? Whether it's either 9/11 or whether it's like
it's bad luck. It doesn't exist.
No. Like, they say it's there, but it's like a secret floor.
A secret floor,
right?
Yeah, you go from 12 straight to 14.
I live very close to a lot of homeless people, so and you do too now. But I've listened to. Sometimes I would sit and hang out, and I'd like to listen to some of the conspiracies. And the 13th floor one is fun.
I feel like that's a real thing. I feel like there are places that don't have 13th floors. You know, that's because it's considered bad luck.
But there is a 13th floor because if you went to the 13th fucking floor. So the 13th to 14th, or is there a 13th floor that you don't know about? That's the fucking conspiracy.
Okay, I see what
you're
saying.
All right.
Yeah.
And says UMass being the 17th team is the 13th floor.
Got to take a special staircase.
That's what I'm saying. I'm excited about that UMass Georgia game. But where are you at with Georgia? They're easily gonna beat Texas next week at Texas, Patty C.
No, I don't think so. You just have to trust what you see sometimes, and I trust that Texas looks like a better team than Georgia, and the fact that it's at home, and you know damn well Texas is going to be up for that game. I don't see Georgia coming in and walking away with a win.
Wow, love it, love this. Let's go. We'll see what he says on Tuesday. ULM, the greatest team ever. General Booty should be the general of the goddamn military right now, because guess what? He didn't. I don't think he even played. I didn't even watch. Did he play? General Booty didn't play, but don't worry. ULM still won because he's on the roster. He's on the roster.
Were they 5-1? We may be getting them in a rematch here in the Sun Belt Championship game.
What the hell's happening here? ULM's a force.
I know, crazy.
This might even be more of a shock than Vandy. Well, I wasn't shocked by Vandy, but I feel like the world is. I am a little bit shocked by ULM.
What was the? Let me see the team stats in that game. 432 for ULM to 347 for Southern Miss. Southern Miss only 1-5. You would expect them to kick Southern Miss's ass, but I mean, if between the two of them coming into the season, that's flip a coin, right? But somehow ULM has found themselves to be a pretty legit 5-1 here.
Oh yeah,
unbelievable.
That's a great dude, incredible. Weren't we kind of saying like they should have kept Terry Bowden one more year?
Yeah. Whoopsie.
Maybe I don't know what the fuck I'm. Maybe this guy had too many cocktails.
Maybe I just like that Terry Bowden looks like a cartoon character on the sideline.
He did, and I hope he gets another gig. Just something about having the Bowden name in college football.
I just think if you're gonna wear khakis and a tie and a blazer and then a baseball hat. There's only so many people do that.
It's like fucking who is that? Like Charlie Brown or something?
It has a Charlie Brown feel to it. And then he's got like the old school like sneaker cleats, like the golf cleats or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
very particular.
Good look.
Yeah.
What else do we have here? Oh, I made us money.
You know what else he had as part of his look?
What's that?
That Al Golden like oversized like dress shirt. Like it just doesn't fit. Everything's like all frumpy on him.
Yeah, the tailor there in Monroe, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Definitely, I might have had a few cocktails. I think I want to just hit on another very sharp play by your boy over here. You guys didn't have the courage to back me. I tried to talk you guys into it. Texas State 41, Arkansas State 9. I knew these cowards were going to come into San Marcos. This was a revenge game. This is all about the spot. And Texas State put it on them. They had 591 yards of offense, Patty C. 591. Yes, I laid the what was it 14 or 13 I laid. This was I've been waiting a year to bet this game. I had this on the calendar. I'm going to bet Texas State next year. Easy play. Let's go.
Nice. Well, let me ask you this. Texas State and ULM, when do they play?
I don't know.
I got to get that pulled up.
That will be. I got it right here. Hang on. November 9th. It's in Monroe, though.
Do you think that will be for the Sun Belt West?
It's looking like it. Yeah.
Pretty damn crazy.
It is looking like it. Easy wager there. Your North Texas Mean Green that we're down. I think 27-14 at half. And they were down. North Texas scored scored 2 touchdowns in the final 2 minutes 38 seconds to steal the game from Florida Atlantic. Chandler Morris
getting it
4
done.
touchdowns, 336 yards in the air. Patty C.
And they're sitting at 5-1.
They are a phony ass 5-1. But hey,
maybe they were right to get rid of Seth Luttrell.
I mean, they didn't beat anybody good though. But If anything, the only good team they played had 70 points on them or something in the game that you were on them to keep it close with Texas Tech.
Yeah. I can't bet my team or North Texas.
Now we're gonna find out about North Texas. This is where it comes back home. They're at Memphis, home to Tulane, home to Army, at UTSA, home to ECU. There's gonna be some losses coming.
You're gonna take four losses in 5 games.
Still nice win for the Mean Green.
Yeah.
Bronco Mendenhall scored 52 on Air Force today. 52-37. Nice hit there. I picked this correctly. I didn't bet this game, but New
Mexico getting it turned around in a hurry there.
Yeah, let's go.
What's their record?
They're not. They should have beat Montana State, but they're not. They're not very good. They have 2 wins, but they've been in a lot of these games. You know what I mean? And they just pass the eye test much more than previous years. What else do we got? Washington State 25, Fresno State 17. Patty C, we should stop and talk about Wazoo because they're 5-1. Your boy John Mateer. They are home to Hawaii next week. I think Washington State will be favored. You agree?
Yeah.
After that, they go to the Snapper in San Diego.
They should definitely win that too.
So you're telling me 7-1 going into November.
Considerably better than both of those.
7-1 going into November. They are home to Utah State.
Yeah. What are they? They're
They should be 8-1.
They're still Pac-12.
Yeah.
That's right. Pac-2.
They should be 8-1. Then they are at New Mexico. They should be 9-1. Then the biggest game left on their season, they're in Corvallis taking on Oregon State. I think they'll be favored though, so they could be 10-1.
Huge game. I know Oregon State would love to play spoiler.
Yes, and then home to Wyoming. You got to think they're favored to go 11-1.
If they do go 11-1 and their only loss is at Boise, then
with wins over Oregon State Power 5, Washington Power 5, Texas Tech Power 5, Texas Tech could win the Big 12 still.
Yeah, I mean that's true. If they go 11-1 and they beat the Big 12 champion, they're in, right? And their only loss.
I'm sure the good people of the College Football Playoff Committee will be honest and won't be bought and paid for.
What is their conference status though? Could they possibly qualify for the Group of 5?
No,
Obviously,
they can't qualify for the Group of 5. They're like Notre Dame.
They're essentially independent.
Yeah,
gotcha.
But obviously that loss to Boise at Boise would look way better than a loss at home to Northern Illinois.
Yeah. If you're talking about a head-to-head competition there for that final spot.
But they're not.
Granted, Notre Dame will have.
They're not going to use logic.
Yeah, Notre Dame. I will say with USC losing, and Florida State not being great this year, a lot of their opportunities for big wins have dwindled. So I think Notre Dame probably can't afford another loss. I think they got to probably run the table.
Yeah, there is no Pac-2 conference championship, unfortunately, folks. There is not. They should though. Why wouldn't they? Yeah, they should. Why wouldn't they? Just to help your.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway.
Get more money.
That's a huge win for Wazoo.
Yeah.
I had a money line play that went wrong, and it shouldn't have went wrong. I had the Florida Gators on the money line, Patty C. But I also backed it up with a large ass wager of Florida plus 16 for 15.5. Florida was better than Tennessee today. I'm telling you, if Mertz doesn't go down.
Do you think Tennessee is counterfeit?
I do. Can I just tell you that if you look at the stats, Florida 361 yards of offense, Tennessee 312. Florida was the better team today, to me, and Tennessee escaped. There was someone in the chat this morning calling me a fucking idiot for my logic on locking up Florida, even though Tennessee hadn't beaten Florida by more than 15 points since like 1992. And Tennessee survives, but and I had this team. I have a future for them to make the playoffs. I don't think it's happening.
Going down the stretch is
their schedule's kind of easy though, but they just don't look good on offense.
Yeah, well, seeing what they beat Oklahoma by like 10. Yeah. Oklahoma getting smacked by Texas suggests Oklahoma's still probably a decent team. And so that was a good win for Tennessee, but not a dominant win.
So Tennessee's got Bama next week.
Hosting them. That's going to be a close game. I couldn't tell you right now.
I got to lean Bama by a little bit.
I don't even know. That's kind of a coin flip since it's in
I don't know,
Knoxville.
In Knoxville, it makes it different, but I just wish that the offense would look a little bit better.
Yeah.
What about Kentucky?
That's also in Knoxville, and it's off of a bye.
What about Mississippi State? They do have a favorable fucking schedule.
They'll beat Mississippi State.
They're going to lose at Georgia.
Probably lose at Georgia, and they could lose at Vandy.
Oh, they're going to get pissed on right before the playoffs.
Oh, that'd be great if that's their third
at
loss.
The construction zone,
and that costs them a playoff spot.
They're going to get pissed on.
That's what this rivalry really needs.
Yes, some piss to the face.
I mean, this could be like the peak moment of the rivalry at this point.
Yeah. Getting pissed on at the construction zone. Let's go. Tennessee survives in overtime. And let me tell you, if Graham Mertz does not get injured, this DJ Lagway gave them a gift with that interception. This game was being dominated by Florida. Go watch the first half of this. Florida, one thing I'll say is like they turn the ball over in the red zone too much. I think personally watching that whole game, I personally believe Florida was better than Tennessee today. But this is football. The ball bounces certain ways. Injuries happen. All right. Tuck jobs happen. And yeah, let's go. Patty C, UTSA lost to Rice today, 29-27. Tough season for
not working out for
runners.
UTSA.
Yeah.
God, no, what? His star has cooled so much. I'm drawing a blank on his name. Head coach
Jeff Traylor.
Jeff Traylor. I mean, is he going to get? He was just being looked at for the. He was going to get hired potentially for the A&M job, right?
Yeah.
His name was being thrown around.
People were saying the Baylor job too, when that opened up.
Yeah.
But
tough break. I think he's got to go and prove himself all over again if he's going to get an offer like that again. So
yeah, folks, stick around. We're going to talk about this. The rest of this on the B side. If you're on YouTube, stay put. If you're on the audio side, make sure you check out the B side on the college football experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here. All right, we are back on the college football experience. Patty C. So Rice did upset UTSA. Tough season for UTSA so far. Very, very tough. Life after Captain Harris. Not great.
Yeah,
I think even the police academies found out on number 6 or 7 or 8 or 9, whatever one they decided to get rid of Captain Harris. That thing bombed in the box office. All right,
I think it was over long before.
Well,
that.
it comes in waves. They got rid of Mahoney early on, and they were able to weather the storm, even though the quality was shit. But then Captain Harris was the final straw. When they went to Moscow. That was the one. Like
you've watched way more police academies than I have. I'm not gonna lie.
I met. I hung out with Captain Harris.
Did you
on the Amtrak down to San Diego?
Very cool. Fucking hilarious.
Castro introduced me. My guy Castro.
Nice.
Shout out to my guy Castro.
Good man. What about Hightower?
He reminds you of Hightower, right?
Yeah.
I never hung out with Hightower, but I wish I would have.
UTSA sitting there at 2-4 right now, 0-2 in conference. Yeah. They're probably not sniffing the old.
They're struggling.
That's
when I was very wrong about this season. I thought UTSA would still be in the mix competing. No,
sir.
I also lost on Ohio State. I did bet Ohio State -3. Patty C. Oregon 32. The Buckeyes 31. Ryan Day loses another close game.
Will Howard has to catch so much flack for that.
Is that Day or is that Howard?
I mean, that's Day. That really is Day more than anything. 6 seconds left. You're dropping back and scanning the field. Pathetic. That should have been on. They have a timeout left. They're 3 or 4 yards away from field goal range, maybe 5. Maybe it becomes a long field goal, but still, you kick the long field goal there. You run off tackle left. You burn 3 or 4 seconds. You call timeout. You're right in the middle of the field, and you just kick that thing. And that's your best chance.
Critical, offensive pass interference on the young guy who's a stud, Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise
it was offensive PI though.
It was. Strange to see it called there, but I like the refs not swallowing their whistle when there is a blatant offensive pass interference.
This game was like a heavyweight fight.
Yeah. Oh, that was back and forth. You didn't know who was going to win. It was a good game. It was a great.
It's like
game.
Butterbean and Foreman. You know what I mean?
It's a better heavyweight fight than that.
I'm joking, but no, it really was a great heavyweight fight. That was an offensive PI. in my opinion.
Like really tough time to call it though. I mean, because it was a chip shot.
But I hate that rule though. Like I get it. Like you're supposed to swallow the whistle, but at the same time, it's like he got those yards because he pushed off.
Yeah. I don't mind it.
You're gonna tell me the Brian Russell wasn't the Jordan shot was legit?
Well, anyone from Chicago would tell you that. Anyone else, certainly anyone from Utah, would be arguing. Yeah. So I think I agree. I think Oregon was gifted. If an incomplete pass, they still would have been in field goal range. But that penalty pushed it because it was a 15-yard penalty on offensive PI. Yeah. Very costly. It pushed Ohio State out of field goal range, made them run the extra play, and then obviously the clock ran out, and that was that.
Daniel said you had no money on it. Daniel, I had money on Ohio State. So if anything, I'd be blind to being like, that call's fucking horrible. I had money on Ohio State -3. I should have every reason to say that call was garbage, but I think it was the right call. 32-31, Patty C. But Ryan Day, look, I can picture it now. You know, my guy Josh Keaton. I can just picture him now saying, you know, every big game.
Well, in this situation, I think they have a point. That was horribly mismanaged.
Yeah.
They lost the game because of that bad call right at the end.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they probably would have won.
Yeah.
But that said, I still think Ryan Day, how can you argue with his win percentage? And I figure he'll probably win the rest of his games. That trip to Penn State.
To be fair, Pepper Johnson could coach them and probably win most of those games too.
Fair.
Right?
Fair. I don't know. We'll see. He desperately needs a deep playoff run. He probably needs to make the semifinals.
This is in preseason. No, of course I didn't do this today. In preseason, I said Ohio State will lose in Eugene
and beat them
in Indianapolis. But the problem is I thought Oregon looked like shit really the first beginning of the season. I mean, hell, you could make the case Boise played Oregon just as good as Ohio State, maybe even better. Because Oregon needed 2 kick returns for touchdowns to win that thing. Anyway,
Boise is certainly in controlling their destiny for that Group of 5 playoff spot at this point, I think. But Ohio State also controls their destiny. They do have Penn State and Michigan left on their schedule, but assuming they're able to get through both of those, even though Penn State's in-state college, that's going to be crazy in a few weeks. They get through both of those, then they will get them in Indianapolis. Do you still think Ohio State will beat Oregon in Indianapolis?
Yes, if they get there though. Penn State is better than I thought they would be. Kotelnicki could give them some challenges, but I still think probably if I had to wager, it would be Ohio State, Oregon, in that filthy bullshit stadium, Lucas Oil Stadium.
Yeah,
which will benefit Ohio State.
Ohio
more
State
than it will
still
Oregon.
has Indiana too, though. So there's a little bit of a gauntlet.
Watch out!
Little gauntlet that they got to be on point. All of those games.
Yeah. Next up, this is where I got lightning hot. You know what I mean? Whether it was the Florida play. Or perhaps the LSU Tigers on the money line. I had so many people question me. I think I can't remember everyone's damn screen name. All right, but I want to talk shit. All right. LSU 29, Ole Miss 26.
They got a little lucky.
Sure, but also a 60-yard field goal was made by Ole Miss.
Yeah.
I mean.
Late interception in regulation cost Ole Miss dearly.
I will say LSU didn't look great, but a win is a win.
They always find a way to get the win against Ole Miss.
Yeah, and I mean, let's go. This was easy money. You just know it's gonna happen at night. An underdog at fucking Tiger Stadium. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh, I also had this dog known as Nevada. They won outright. At home against the Oregon State Beavers as their Hail Mary fell short. Patty C.
Giovanni McCoy for Oregon State. 4 interceptions.
Yeah, struggled.
Yeah.
Jeff Choate's got this Wolfpack team playing ball.
Nice win for Nevada. What are they sitting at?
They easily, remember, they're 3-4, but they could easily be 5-1 or whatever.
Yeah, they've outscored their opponents on the year.
Whatever the hell it is. But you know what I mean. Anyway, Nevada. That was a nice play, and I think NC Nick came with me on that one. Got it done. I got that at plus 160. LSU was plus 150. I think we were on a gravy train with biscuit wheels, buddy.
Boom.
Also cashed on App State plus the points against Louisiana. I did sprinkle the money line, though, if I'm being honest, but that's why you back it up with the points to save your ass. They covered by the hook.
Louisiana still also
Michael Desamoreau
having a very nice year.
Hitting dingers over there.
What are they sitting at 5-1 themselves? Actually,
they are in the mix with Texas State and ULM.
Yeah,
that's going to be a magical game.
Yeah, that's probably the best moment of that rivalry.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Yeah.
When is that game? Is that the final game?
I think
of the
the
season?
Final game of the season.
Wow,
that could be great. Put that on a weeknight.
For that game, they need to. We insist that they call them Lafayette. It should be Monroe versus Lafayette.
Just be aware they're going to get pissed at you on Twitter.
That's true.
All right. Daniel saying, would I fire Billy Napier? No, not after today. I would let him play out the rest of the season, at least, and then reevaluate at that point. We're going to talk about a couple big ones here in a second, but I want to tell you, college football experience is brought to you by BetUS. I'm sorry. No, we're not. Yes, we are. Let's just read that. We're brought to you by BetUS. Bet with the best in the business. BetUS. BetUS has been around for more than 30 years. You can easily deposit using cryptocurrency and get lightning fast payouts. And sign up and deposit $100. You have a chance to win a 1960 Ford Mustang. Yes. Use our link to sign up and get a 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Promo code SGPN so they know that we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sports book. All right. I would not fire Billy Napier yet.
Yeah, they've looked surprisingly good.
Yeah, Patty C would not either. So, but you know what, Patty C, there comes a time. Vanderbilt 20, Kentucky 13, plus 475 cashes in my fucking bank account.
Boom.
They never trailed a second of this game, Patty C.
Very nice.
Diego Pavia got injured, but like the fucking dog he is,
fought through it,
even though he got his first interception of the season. But he still went 15 of 18 for 143 yards, 2 touchdowns, and of course, he was a factor on the ground rushing for 53 yards, including a 31-yarder at a key point.
He was also a factor in throwing lead blocks, as he always
does.
He's
a fucking dog.
He's a football player.
This is the best story. I mean, I hit on this every week. This is the best story in football. Yeah. And not only because it's Vanderbilt, but also because the real quarterback is coming back. And by the way, I saw so many bullshit abrupt slides. Hey, Ole Miss and Jackson Dart, fuck you. Hey, Dylan Gabriel in Oregon, fuck you. But it's so great. It's so refreshing to see Diego Pavia after seeing them play.
Yeah.
It's like we have pussy ball and we have football.
Pavia. Bryson Daly also.
Yes, Bryson Daly.
Bring back the badass quarterback.
And they should still make that slide illegal. It's the most dangerous fucking play. That poor kid from LSU got hit with this today. And same with the dude at, well, actually, I don't think it happened in the Ohio State game. It was an abrupt slide, but the Ohio State player didn't bite on it.
Gotcha.
But I see what they're doing, and I still hate it, and it's horrible for the sport. It's horrible for the sport. It's the most dangerous. If we really cared about player safety, we would make QB slides illegal.
Yeah.
But we don't really care. We just say we care, and then and then instead of 70% of America eats that up like we really care.
Yeah, we need to satisfy
them. You have to see the matrix. You have to see the fucking shit. You know what I mean? Like,
but what you really need to do is overcome them. Roger Goodell is out there, catering, kowtowing to the soccer moms. You need to say, shut the fuck up. This is a man's game, and this is how it's played.
Yeah. Pavia played on one leg. Look, I try to tell people, friends of mine, who I respect their opinions, this is not a gimmick team. They should have beat Missouri. They were better than Missouri at Missouri. Go watch that game and tell me otherwise. They were better than Virginia Tech. They were better than Alabama. And guess what? They didn't trail this whole fucking game against Kentucky because they're better.
They're legit.
At what point? Now we'll see with Pavia's injury, because I do think when he goes home and rests that tomorrow morning, he's going to need all those girls in Nashville to come over and give him a rub and tug, because he is going to feel that pain. All right.
Yeah.
But
he was dinged up. He was limping around.
But the good news is Ball State's on the schedule. But don't fuck this up, because
just give him the week off.
Yeah. Because after that, the Texas Longhorns come to town. And that's after that, guess what? Pavia goes back to a scene where he pissed. War Eagle, Jordan Hare Stadium. He pissed all over that field last year.
This is a brutal end of the schedule.
Dude, they're going to beat the dude. Honestly, like if you think about that Vanderbilt game, I'm sorry, the Missouri game, you go back and watch that game and see how it went. Like Vanderbilt had the lead at halftime. You know what I mean? They were all tied after one, right? Vanderbilt had the lead late in that game to win that game. Missed field goals. They were. That's what I'm saying. Is like, this is how many SEC teams is it going to take for you to buy in to them being actually better than their opponents?
Yeah, I mean, again, in a one-game situation, hosting Texas, that would be a very impressive one. I don't expect them to beat Texas straight up, but against Auburn, even on the road, I could see them getting it done. It's going to be a dogfight, but I could see them getting it done. Hosting South Carolina, dogfight, but they could win. A bye week before LSU is huge. Maybe if they can prep up, Jerry Kill could dial something up.
They could beat it. LSU's defense is fucking horrible.
LSU at home though is a tough place to play.
True, but still,
it would be an impressive win. And then obviously hosting Tennessee. That is a ball buster back half of a schedule. But I do like the fact that they seem to be taking it one game at a time.
Well, in my opinion, like, okay, I'm with you on the Texas one, but like, I think they're better than Auburn. I think they're better than South Carolina.
Sure.
I think I think they can play Tennessee. I think that's a 50-50 game. I think LSU, okay.
I just think all of those are fights.
Sure. But it's like he texts his teammates like, hey, you know, the pisser did this past week. And by the way, he did say, one of my favorite interviews was, they're like, what's your goal? My goal is I'm going to be the greatest human that ever walked planet Earth. Greatest fucking answer of all time.
Man sets the bar high.
Finally, we get some fucking people, some cool fucking people. You know what I mean? This is finally, I've been waiting for 30 years for the reincarnation of Bosworth. This is it.
It's coming in the form of a quarterback.
Piss on your face. I just, this was an easy play. Vanderbilt's cashing me money left and right. And I'm shocked at the amount of people that still don't believe it. Diego Pavia is playing at a incredibly high level.
I mean, them beating Alabama is already kind of the story of the year. But if they manage to beat Texas, they beat 2 number ones in a month. That'd be the greatest month in Vanderbilt football.
Well, let's talk about this, because here's my theory. We talked about this a little bit earlier. They're running this option attack from the gun. And why I think it's so successful is Diego Pavia's been in it for 3 years.
Yeah.
But also, everyone, this is my problem with the sport. And this is why it's coming full circle. None of these teams are used to it.
Yeah.
Every single team in the SEC is saying, wait, what is this?
Just gives one more wrinkle that they have to deal with.
Yes. And I think that is
a power rushing attack with an option
and a quarterback that normally always makes the right decision.
Yeah.
You know, and even sometimes that's even swallowing the pill and just taking the sack. But he doesn't beat himself normally. First interception thrown this season, and even that was a flukish interception. Like it was deflected, and it's a great play by the defender. I'm telling you, man.
I mean, but it's all these other teams that are running the spread have the read option at their disposal. They don't really have a power run game so much. I mean, I guess they could, motion a tight end across and make it into a kind of a power rushing game. But I think you're right. You said Chadwell runs a similar system.
Yeah.
It does truly incorporate like two running backs.
It's the triple option.
Yeah.
And it's, to me,
but it's obviously out of a pistol, so they can have gun and spread elements too. So yeah, it's not a brand new offense, but it is one that Jamie Chadwell is making a living off of, and has been doing great off of. And now you got it at Vanderbilt. And
well, you're seeing teams struggle with it. Look, they put the most yards up on Kentucky out of any team so far. What is that?
Yeah. It's working.
Yeah. Let's go. Pisser is the greatest. Diego Pavia, shout out. There's no gimmick, man.
Yeah, having a dog at quarterback is also necessary.
It's so refreshing after how many pussies have been playing quarterback over the past 20 years.
Yeah.
It is so refreshing.
You have to root for him to win and win big.
Good God, we were in we were in the desert. We found the oasis. You know what I mean? Like it was just like, good Lord. Syracuse 24, NC State 17. Pussy pack loose again.
What was the spread on that one? I'm drawing a blank.
Syracuse was laying 1, I believe.
Laying 1.
Yeah,
nice win.
So,
nice win for the Cuse.
Yeah, the Q's, buddy. Fran Brown. Don't sleep on Fran Brown.
Having a hell of a first
5-1.
season.
Let's go. Marshall, Georgia Southern was just ridiculous. I thought this was going to be the game Clay Helton, and it looked like he was because they had 3 points through 3 quarters, and Marshall was dominating them. And now the good news is if you bet Marshall, you did cover by a half a point. But Georgia Southern scored 21 in the 4th. Good Lord. What a brutal loss for the Thundering Herd.
For the first 3 quarters.
Unbelievable.
Ouch.
And it was unconventional. It was like a safety in there. Unbelievable.
Find a way to win. Congrats to Georgia Southern going and getting that win. 4-2, 2-0 in conference. Still very much in play. Do they play JMU next week? I haven't looked at the schedule.
Georgia Southern?
Georgia Southern. I feel like they play JMU sometime soon.
Yep. JMU.
No, it's a huge game.
Where you at with Bob Chesney, by the way?
Hey, let's be honest. That was a great look, and poor Coastal Carolina. And look, I'm not. I don't feel guilty. I hope we whoop their ass every year. It's a fun little tradition we're building there.
Iowa State 28, West Virginia 16. I did eat shit on this one, and I'm no longer fading. I'm done fading Iowa State. Yeah, I tried this experiment. And I was wrong.
They are just
Terrell Furman is right. I am wrong. Rocco Beck is the best
team that knows how to win and knows how to kind of control games. Matt Campbell, you mentioned, probably going to be on the radar of a lot of big teams in the near future. So
he's been on the radar though. He turned down some.
The Detroit Lions.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He's like, fuck the Lions. Don't want to live that close to Beanick. All right. Yeah, I mean, they got 2 more home games too. Like they get UCF and Texas Tech. Now Texas Tech is obviously playing really good, but still 2 home games coming up. And then you can make a case they're going to have 4 home games in a row. Patty C, is home to UCF, home to Texas Tech, at Kansas, at Arrowhead. Iowa State's going to have that crowd, and then home to Cincinnati.
Damn. This is probably the best. I mean, when was the last time Iowa State put up 10 wins? I have to pull that, but I bet it's been a long time.
Yeah, unbelievable. Matt Campbell doing a hell of a good job. West Virginia, they don't have any fucking playmakers, man. The most frustrating thing about watching this West Virginia team is like they just don't have anybody that can make plays, in my opinion. Like, okay, Garrett Green can somewhat make plays, but they have no one that can just break open a play. Like it's completely. It's one of the more condensed like talent teams, like as far as like just watching actual difference makers. Now they're like the culture's good. Neil Brown's a good coach. Garrett Green's a tough quarterback, but they just don't have that guy that can get you
nothing on the perimeter.
Yeah.
Green is a good runner. Iowa State has never won 10 games.
Yep.
They started playing football in 1895.
Right it.
So is that 130 years of football?
Right it. Let's go. UCLA. Bruins, of course, they folded down the stretch, and apparently they broke the rules of the Big Ten with playing someone on the injury report. But they did get the cover for us. UCLA covers against Minnesota. I thought they were going to win this outright.
Was it UCLA that was? Is that who you were just talking about?
Yes.
Faking all the injuries?
No, Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. Oh, Ole Miss faking all the. Yeah. I mean, it's so terrible.
No, Kansas State tonight. What the fuck was that, man?
Yeah, that was bad. I respect Kansas State typically as kind of a dog program, but that was some dog shit right there. That was complete bullshit, and they did it like 3 or 4 plays in a row. Someone went down with an injury. It's just
I think it was like 4 out of 5 plays.
Yes, just so happened as Colorado was picking up the pace and driving on them, they just completely tried. That's horseshit. And I think the announcers were talking about how something needs to be done about it. I think there needs to be penalties. You should be penalized if you get injured. Fuck it.
Yeah.
The coaches have ruined it by having their players do this. So now you should get punished for it.
Yeah, I'm with you, buddy. I am
burn
with
a timeout. Anytime your player goes down, you burn a fucking timeout.
What do you make of this though? I mean, that's a huge win for Iowa State. That's a huge win for Minnesota. I'm on, Minnesota's win total over, so that was big. And then Colorado, Kansas State. Kansas State wins 31-28. I cover with the Buffs. Buffs got fucked on that pass. I thought it was pass interference.
That was. Man, what a great job battling back, getting the lead late, but then boom, just gave up that touchdown.
I was thinking about that, man, and they gave up that touchdown, and Kansas State probably was the better team all game. But damn, if Travis Hunter was there, you got to think they wouldn't be catching that deep ball on them.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, a corner just that was clearly less talented than the receiver and got exploited for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Travis Hunter probably obviously would have been a big contributor on offense as well.
Jimmy Horn too. Jimmy Horn was out of the game too. So I mean, but I thought the game. Kansas State had more ground success than I thought they would have. But still, I mean, I thought Colorado easily could have won that game.
It's Colorado's first conference loss, right?
Yes.
So I think they're still. This was an impressive enough game by them to me that I'm actually more confident that they can compete for the Big 12.
I think so too.
Even despite the loss.
Mean, look, I think they're at Arizona next week, which is it's going to be a dogfight, but I think they could easily win that game. Then they're home to Cincinnati. They could easily. I mean, every single game left on the schedule, especially if Cam Rising isn't
dinged up.
all these ones are winnable. Now I don't know that they'll win them all, but I'm just saying they'll be in all those games.
No, I think that was probably depending on. I mean, especially with how Utah. I don't think Utah is as good with or without Cam Rising as they were in previous years.
Yeah.
So I think that was just the last hardest game that Colorado's going to have to play, and if they probably should have won that,
they're going to add Lubbock.
Lubbock's going to be hard.
Yeah,
you're right.
Add Lubbock. So Colorado with the cover. Kind of got hosed on the pass interference. Now, like I said, you still can't give up. Kansas State had like a 2-play drive, and Colorado still has too many busted coverages. The defense is vastly improved from a year ago.
Yeah,
but like on that 2-play drive or 3-play drive, whatever that was, the running back, no one picks up the running back, and it's like 50 yards, or 30 yards.
It
right
probably
there.
should have happened the play before, but then it happened the second play instead.
Man, I'm happy as a Buffs fan. I'll tell you that. I mean, I'm not happy that they didn't call pass interference because it should have been pass interference, but I'm happy with the progress.
Yeah,
the progress.
You should be. It is.
Let's go.
Good sign.
Let's go. Boise State 28, Hawaii 7. Push to end the night, which always sucks. But hey, Boise State team to beat. Patty C.
For the group of 5.
Yep.
Yeah, certainly. The JMU Dukes have a case to make, and the more games that ULM wins, the better that little shit ass loss is going to look. But we're not going to catch. It's still not going to be as good as Boise's loss against Oregon. So they're in the driver's seat, and they have UNLV still on the schedule. Probably
huge
twice.
Game next week.
Is that next
week?
Wow,
Boise at UNLV.
Huge.
Check that out, folks. Folks, want to tell you also that the college football experience is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports: NFL, college football, MLB, MMA, WNBA, NASCAR, and much, much more. You can use specials and boost on all flex entries as well. So sign up, and when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, props. It's all fantastic. Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. Patty C, Utah State did cover for me against UNLV, but UNLV got the dub. 50-34.
How many did Haj Malik?
Dude, he's a fucking beast, isn't he? Lighting it up,
dude. Haj Malik versus
Spencer Petras. Who knew?
Yeah, that was going to be a shootout.
Who knew that would be such a barn burner?
I meant against Ashton Ginty next week.
Oh yeah.
Talk about fireworks.
Hell yeah.
Ginty, by the way, led the day with 217 rushing yards on 31 carries, 7 yards a rush. Is he better than Barry Sanders?
Yes, he's going to break that record. He's not better than Barry Sanders, but I'm saying he's going to break that record.
He might. I mean, Barry did it in 11 games. What, like 2,600 yards or something?
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll get it in 11 games, but it's going to be close.
Yeah. Well, he sat out the half of last week.
That's true. He's not even trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The weekday games, obviously JMU with a nice win, Western Kentucky with a nice win, La Tech. Middle Tennessee is the worst team in college football. Your Maryland Terrapins, Patty C. Mike Loxley, is the seat hot? I was doing a deep dive on this. I throw out his first 2 years or so, right?
Yeah.
But since 2021, he is 7-19 in Big Ten conference games, and he only has one win against a team with a winning record, and that was Rutgers by 3. Where are you at with these Terps? Because man, they've lost. They're now 0-3 in conference
I give them
play.
a little bit of a pass on that stat just because they were playing Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan every year during that stretch. You know, and even Michigan State, they weren't quite Michigan State of the past, but still a pretty good team. I think their schedule, you know, moving
They
forward.
still had 9 conference games though, so they were playing some of the Big
Yeah,
Ten
they're
West.
getting some of the Big Ten West, but I think, you know, it'll be a lot easier on average, maybe, or at least a little bit easier on average. But do I expect him to all of a sudden be a above 500 Big Ten coach? No. You got to understand who you are if you're Maryland. Unless you have going to shell out $10 million to get Nick Saban to walk through the door, or Urban Meyer.
They already had Bear Bryant.
Yeah, and they won a national championship with him. So that's good. You know, it can be done. Was it 1952, something like that? But been a while.
Buddy, you can't lose 37-10 at home to Northwestern.
No, that's terrible. Freaking terrible. And just like Virginia, the Maryland crowd was pathetic at home. What is wrong with the Mid-Atlantic schools?
I blame Maryland more. I blame Virginia more than Maryland, because Maryland, in the middle of the night, they moved to the Big Ten. They didn't even ask the fans or the student body or anything, because they wanted to stay in the ACC.
But they wanted the money before.
No, the school did. The people that root for Maryland.
One of them in
they would have never voted for the Big Ten.
They valued that Duke basketball rivalry. Yes.
So they did that shit in the middle of the night. And I think they
maybe they regret it. Maybe
no, those checks keep coming.
That's true.
All right.
Yeah, I'm sure they're fine with it.
You think he's there next year, coaching Maryland?
It really depends on how strong he finishes this. But yeah, after 2 straight 8-win seasons, as long as he goes bowling this year, I think then he's fine. That's a good job for Maryland.
Yeah. All right, folks, that's our show. We just recapped it all. Monday we'll be recapping the FCS, as well as doing the weekday picks show, and then Tuesday we'll be breaking down all of the Saturday games as we slide into Week 8. Make sure you give Patty C a follow on Twitter at PattyC831. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. The College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. YouTube.com/The College Experience. Jump on over there, hit that like and subscribe button. What a Saturday. And shout out to those money line plays, because that is how you win money.
Cha-ching.
Vanderbilt, Buffalo, LSU. Should have been Florida, but we got Nevada cashing. It's good. It's a good day. It's a good day.
Throw it out.
Also, check out the College Basketball Experience, as Ryan is saying there, and Feach in the chat cracking me up as well. But yeah, check it all out. College Baseball Experience as well. CFL Gambling Podcast for that Monday morning lock. Sports Gambling Podcast for all the NFL stuff tomorrow. Till next time, folks. This is the College Football Experience. Shout out to R. Wright for hooking us up as well. You better start thinking about yours. And we are out of here.
Run and shoot.